Okay, so this is, I'm Lauren. This is the WIKISPEED weekly stand-up meeting or ceremony. And we're going to start with the what we did in the past week, what we plan to do in the coming week, and blocks. So who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go ahead and try to go first. I didn't make any real notes, so I'm going to try to piece this together from what I can see real quick and a few demo items I have back here. So I definitely did not finish everything that was on the next week plan. Um, but the first demoable item will be that I did find a good way to spray paint the aluminum. So I think I pointed that out last week when I was going to try was sorry, I forget that when I'm recording this I have to make sure everybody can see it. Okay, so I used this aluminum primer first. I do realize it's backwards for y'all, so hopefully y'all can still see that. And that's white, which works out really good. Like a gray primer would be a little more difficult to make sure you got good coverage. And then I used just this fluorescent orange Rust-Oleum paint on the rest of it. I found a few things when I was doing it, like I kind of had it in a box to protect what was around it, and when I tried to get a better angle with a paint can, turn it sideways, it made for kind of sloppy, extra drippy paint. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't think the orange would work just really well right on the aluminum, but definitely the primer first and then the paint does work. This particular part um, will probably not be used in the building of a car because while I was doing this, I was also on my list for this week was to figure out if I was going to go with imperial bolts or with metric. And basically just price alone and what I was able to get. I did go with and order metric bolts, washers, and nuts. So these are the nuts. And they were actually they were a little thinner than the ones I was using, or they're a lot thinner than the ones I was using to prototype. So the bolts I bought are 1.5 inches. They're 3/8 inch bolt, 9/16 head. These particular ones are corrosive resistant. They don't use zinc. They're just they ended up cheaper than the ones that weren't even coated. So that's what I purchased in this length. But after getting these washers, I realized I actually could have gone with a 1.25 inch, and I still would have had at least two full threads past the nut um, in order to make sure that I had all the grip and traction, I guess, that I needed. On the washers, well, I don't know if I can pull one out, but they're basically uh, they're again 9/16 head, 3/8 inch thread, I guess you would say, and 24, so the fine thread, and nylon lock inserts. So this should allow us to, and I bought enough that this should allow us to bolt all of the rest of the plates together. More than likely, if since I know that these holes are not exactly where I needed them to be, actually I need to go into that a little bit more. I looked into this week on another WIKISPEED video how to use a drill guide, and those I believe from looking at it are 3/8 inch holes positioned 1/2 inch apart across a 4 inch base, basically, which means that I can actually move these two holes. I don't know the best way to these two holes this way. I think 1/8 of it, 2/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, and fit a drill guide pattern, which is going to be a lot easier to use. If we use transfer punches, it'll make it a lot easier to manufacture these parts. So although this part would work, to make a more modular part, it would be better to match it up with our standard drill guide. So I guess well, that covered a little bit of what I was doing last weekend this week. I guess what I plan on doing next week is at least start working on drilling the rest of these, and hopefully getting that drill guide. I know the exact design that I need now. Um, I also want to source and acquire the transfer punches, and I get, there's probably something else on the list, but I think I'm going to leave it at that. And right now, um, I don't think I actually have any blocks, so that does it for me.
Okay, Lauren, I can go next if you want.
Yeah,
Um,
good.
I did a couple of videos that I posted up, just basically playing around with Google Hangouts Live and the different camera views you can do. I found out that I need some good lighting on my multimeters in order to be able to read them using the camera phones, or the cameras on the phones, and so that they're large enough when they're positioned down at the bottom of the screen so you can actually see what's going on with the numbers. So I got on my list for next week is to make a couple of cardboard guides or cardboard sets so I can put the phone at the correct angle, get a little bit of lighting. The LED lights, they're just little flashlights that I use. We're very sensitive to angle, so that was a lesson that I learned that I definitely need to pay attention to how it's lit and what angle it's lit from, so that things can be read. The other thing I noticed is that the motors vibrate when they're running, so putting the meters onto the motor, they kind of vibrate all the way across the motor and fall off. That wasn't the perfect way to do it. And lastly, I found out that the Bluetooth headset that I got actually really does not pick up the noise of the motors at all. I don't even have to raise my voice. It was quite clear. And besides cutting out the extremely boring parts, I should be able to just start doing the video and do my tests and then chop it up afterwards. So that will save me a lot of time in editing as well, which is kind of great. So next week we got to spend a little bit of time on the cardboard setup for lighting and the phones. I'm gonna spend a little bit of time with my wife's iPhone and just make sure that I can use it as well. I had an actual request from someone to see if I could use an iPhone, and I think that was maybe it. Oh, I got a new throttle for the AC controller that I'm testing, and I expect probably Saturday I'm going to get the new firmware from Paul. So I'll be doing a little bit of testing before Saturday, but not very much. And if possible, I'd like to swarm with Chris and learn on the receipts or the budgetary stuff. I'm not really sure what to call it, but we both need to find stuff inside Dropbox and get to organizing and classifying it. That's about it for me.
Wow. And you're not alone anymore? You were saying that, your family was away. So
Yeah,
like...
my wife is back, so my productivity is a little lower than it was before.
Not much, it sounds like. Okay. Okay, thank you. And yes, we'll talk after the official part of the meeting about the Dropbox and what that involves. So yeah. And actually, I'm going to also be talking about that in my stand-up. So here's mine, which is I just got. I just got two things recently, and so my block is with my personal corporation tax year end, and that is going away. Should be gone by Tuesday, going in to sign papers, and then so that's the block I did first. So I didn't get too much this week except the email I sent to you guys. What I'm hoping to do again is and I'll explain this. There's a form from the IRS that gives you 501c charitable status, which means you're sort of exempt from tax. But the important thing is that you can give your donors a tax receipt that they can use. So Joe mentioned that there's corporations, there's foundations interested in donating, but they all require you have a 501c, or many of them do. They don't all, but many of them do. So if you want to get that designation, then you have to provide information that you're truly a nonprofit of charitable organization within the meanings of the Tax Act. And about a year or a year and a half ago, we filled the whole thing in. So Joe may have to update it, but the one block was this 3 years. You had to give 3 years of your financial information in a grid, which has about 16 categories, but there's only 4 or 5 that you're likely to use. And so the idea is that to go through receipts and stick them actually put them on a spreadsheet and do these probably likely 5 or 6 columns, do a total on the columns by year, and then enter that into the spreadsheet. So basically it's probably a due diligence on their part to verify that you're not a totally private corporation who's trying to do a scam. That's my impression anyway. So that's the prospective for me, and I already did my block, so we've done that part, and now we're going on to the retrospective. 1 to 10 yourself, 1 to 10 your team, and a process change that everyone can agree would make everything more fun. So anybody want to go on the retrospective, etc.?
Yeah, I would say 8 or 9 for me. I didn't make it to the shop, but I just totally at least get to test out and try and learn on what I was working on, and got to order things to make next week even more awesome. And yeah, like a 9 for the team. Again, I think everybody still, even strangers, are participating. So that's cool. And unfortunately, this week I don't know that I have a process improvement suggestion. I'll try to think of one before we're done.
Okay, I can go.
Go.
Okay, I guess I forgot blocks. The only block I've got is I still want the battery that I ordered in August. Still can't get my hands on it. That's not really anything that the team can do anything about. For me, I'm going to give myself a 6. I did get some stuff done, but not nearly the stuff that I had planned to, and I got lazy last night. I could have got stuff done. For the team, I'm going to go with an 8. Not as much stuff flying around as there was the last couple weeks. So you're looking for a teeny bit more participation. The people that are sending messages back and forth are still reading everything and stuff. Perhaps other people are too. It's just hard to tell. And the process improvement, I still want to get some way of finding out what the other shops are doing, but I don't know how to do that without causing a whole bunch of work where people do either the documentation and post a video, or they take points off the wall and get things done. if someone could come up with a way to do that, that would be really great. I don't have an actionable method to do that. And I guess that's about it for me.
Okay, just trying to swallow some food here. So I'm giving myself a 1 because I got on the meeting, and then the team is a 10. I'm still like I don't know. I'm just awed by what people do, and I'm hoping I'll understand it a little better as time goes on. And then the process improvement. I like yours, Michael. I got a question about it, which is that are you talking about people who could potentially be on this meeting, or and what about Carica or some other Scrum board thing? Or are you talking about like other WIKISPEEDs that are not us?
WIKISPEED is not the Linwood shop, and sorry, Chris, I can't remember the name of your shop.
Burleson. Yeah, the Burleson shop.
Burleson, okay. So we know about the shops that are on the call. What we don't know is the dozens of other shops that are spread all across the world that don't call in, and sometimes they're working on stuff, and it's really cool, and we just don't know.
Yeah, so then that suggests a process improvement. The one is the whatever the link to see who's up, who's awake, and doing stuff. And so I haven't looked at the front page. I don't know if that's up there yet on the front page. It's on Carica. Is it, Chris? And then the other thing that could kind of implement it is to somehow increase participation in this. And I'm since our time zones, we seem to get people. We had one meeting where everybody was eating, and I think that's a good thing. So, because then you can kind of combine something, and it's social and everything. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And so, yeah, I think maybe in the after talk we can kind of talk about implementing or ideas, brainstorm a bit around that. That's my thought on the process. Anybody have any retrospective, prospective block, stand up, what you're going to do next week, or process improvement that we haven't talked about yet?
I would say, since I left out my process improvement suggestion, that just not really off the top of my head, but sort of some deep thinking here, is more documentation on the product increment of record. I would say whatever we're working on right now that seems to be in a state of doneness enoughness. Just because it took me a lot of extra time to figure out. I know Joe mentioned, I think it was a month ago on the call, about a drill guide, and I just happened to run across a video that he had made demoing this last night. So there wasn't an easy path to go find information that had already been easily documented. So it seems like if maybe there was a place we could, first off, we could put an effort into documenting the current state of record. Like I said, not things that are just being tested, but things that we're pretty well certain are going to have a useful lifespan, and then finding a place to put that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that sounds good. Yeah. So I think
vote for that too.
Yeah. So this kind of concludes the official Scrum ceremony. So now we can do the informal part.
So Chris, if you were going to make this document, where would you put it?
Right. So I don't know yet. I mean, Google Docs does work well, and Carica ties into that, but I don't know that any of us use it enough. So maybe that leads to maybe there should be an easier way directly from the web. I don't. Where do y'all feel like you most participate with WikiSpeed on the through a computer?
For me, it's just this meeting.
This meeting. Do you hang out in the forum much, Lauren? I mean, do you watch what goes through the Google forum?
No, I don't know what the Google form is. So
That's okay. That's cool.
And
yeah.
the only time I go through the Google form is when I'm looking for something and I'm trying to, well, just look through a category and see if I can find it, kind of thing. Most of my interaction is just via Gmail.
See, but I think that the issue is that I think that most people don't participate, but well, obviously by joining this call and not even by watching it on YouTube. Um, yeah, so I don't know. I would actually say my opinion at this point, the best place would be to share it through Carica as a Google Doc so that it can be easily shared in other locations like the forum or the website or whatever, because it does seem like people kind of come to WikiSpeed through all these different interfaces.
The only thing with Carica is that it apparently doesn't scale well on mobile devices.
Right,
So
but you can but you can when you attach a document there, it kind of puts it in the Google realm and it makes a link that you can share other places. So I mean, it's basically using Google Docs, which there are limits to. The personal account I think has size limits. But I have not as of yet using the different Google boards have hit any kind of like warning or size limit. And that's with, documents and pictures and videos and all sorts of things being attached, which makes a link that you can easily share out. And again, maybe the best place is to get that onto the website or something, which is, we can do directly or through Carica and Google Docs. But
So
ultimately,
well,
say again.
When you share a document on Google Docs, can you share a read-only? Because the read-only would be great to do on the website.
Yes. Yeah, you can. You can share it. It's somewhat basic sharing abilities, but if I remember correctly, it's you can make something public and you can make it read only or also write it with a few like simple groups. So public could be read only, and then a few people that you wanted to share it with could be read write that have specific Google usernames. Now, ultimately, we would like OwnCloud to fill this whole role, but it's on the current platform it doesn't work for what we need, and I haven't put the effort yet into finding a platform that will.
Okay. So Dropbox is the next topic. Yes.
I'm in.
Okay, so Lauren, your stumbling block is you don't have Google or Dropbox installed. You need to get to it through the web interface, right?
Yeah, and I'm listening, but I'm gonna be busy for a minute.
Okay.
I also add to that real quick that because we had thought we had pulled off the OwnCloud transfer, that I think that right now nobody maybe has write access to Dropbox. I know my account doesn't. I think all of the accounts that aren't Joe's original account may have been shut down for write access, and they all just have read access right now. That's at least the state of my account. So trying to add something to it may be an issue. If you just need to pull something out of it, that's actually should still work and be easy to do.
Okay, well, if we can't change the location of the receipts in the various, into the various categories, we can at least write down which ones should be in what category and put them in a spreadsheet and stuff.
And maybe it's maybe a more practical process improvement than we ran across earlier, but maybe people that need access right now to actually do some work in Dropbox, maybe specifically request to get that read-write access again. There may be other accounts that can give the access, but Joe specifically may be required to do that, which may be a block.
Well, if we find out that that's the block, at least we can text him or send him an email. And I don't think he's completely out of touch. I think.
Right. Plus,
I'm not sure if he's on holidays, but.
Plus, I'm sure that particular account, I mean, it has a password that may have been shared before or whatever. Like, we may actually have access to the Dropbox account through the owner account. I'm not sure of that. I've just always accessed it through it being shared through my account.
I'm actually not sure which account originated it, but we'll have to take a look.
Right.
So the files, if we get to them from the website, I know there are some limitations, but we should be able to see them and view them and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, even if you can't get right access to Dropbox, you should be able to pull those files out and then maybe get them into Carica to work on them as a working copy. I mean, I don't think it'll be any. Yeah, I don't think there's any block that'll stop you from actually getting something done on it.
Okay, except for possibly having read access to the folder, which apparently, like there's lots of invitations out there to Dropbox, but most of them don't. They're to specific directories. They're not to the root, if you want to describe it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have. The. Okay. Yeah, I thought they were all basically. There's like 3 folders. One of them is seldom shared, and the other 2 are basically the CAD and the shareable WIKISPEED files. But I think they're usually shared at the root of at least the CAD and the regular WIKISPEED shareable files. The other one's just called internal, and typically, I mean, it's just when people put information in a form that's considered private. There's nothing in there really that's confidential or anything. But.
Okay. So maybe I'm just trying to figure out how we're gonna get Lauren into Dropbox and see what he can see, I guess.
So I think actually, so Michael, you have access at least read only to Dropbox, right? Like through your account. Maybe it doesn't sync to your computer, but
I did before my laptop crashed.
Okay. Well, but your account still, it would be shared to your Dropbox account still.
I don't know. I haven't set Dropbox up on my new machine because Dropbox was a bandwidth hog.
Right. But you don't actually have to set up the application. You can log into Dropbox on the web interface, and it'll show you. You can actually, if you're dealing with a specific file, it's very easy because you just basically it's folder links, kind of like the way old FTP looked. That you can go pick out that file and pick it and download it to your computer. And that's just that's without setting up the application. That's just logging into the Dropbox.com account with your actual Dropbox account. You'll be able to see if it's shared with you, and so that should work even without setting up the app and having it sync back up to your computer.
Okay, well, maybe I'll try it while we're on the phone here, and if I have any questions, I can still ask.
Awesome.
Lauren, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Maybe you want to log into the Dropbox.com and see what you can see.
Okay. And then I'm in on Carica too, not finding that thing I want to find. So I'm gonna work with Chris a bit on that. So you can just hang on a minute while I get a heat lamp set up for my wife.
Uh-uh. I misspelled Dropbox, and now my computer's very unhappy.
Okay. I'm going to my computer, and I think I'll turn off the thing because the video for a second. And so. Or I don't even know how to do another tab.
Oh, yeah. You just got Windows 10, huh?
No, I just for the first time opened. I've had Windows 10 a long time.
Oh, okay.
For the first time I've opened up Internet Explorer. I've got it. It's assuming I'm a 14-year-old who only knows smartphones. Okay, so I want Dropbox.com. Yeah, I got it.
I'm having trouble remembering my password. It's been a while since I've been.
So I have to. Do I have to download the app?
No, you don't.
Right.
But you do have. If you just log in, then you should be good.
Sign up with Google.
If you already have an account, you should go.
Email address is already.
Yeah, Lauren, if you already had a Dropbox account that was created in the past under an email address, the WIKISPEED stuff might have been shared with you. If you don't have one and you have to create a new one, you won't see any of the WIKISPEED info.
Yeah. I think I had a Dropbox account. I don't know if I had it with WikiSpeed.
Right. Well, getting access to it was by request, just because of the way it works. Like you have to basically, if you needed access to it, you have to request it because it has to be manually shared. So if you did not go through that process at some point in the past of asking, either through the forum or somebody in the team or on the call here, you more than likely don't have access to it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so Chris, I found my password. So I've got a CAD folder. I've got a WikiSpeed folder. I've got a WikiSpeed videos folder. And I've got a WikiSpeed sensitive folder.
Okay, so you have one more folder than I have access to. I didn't know there was a separate one for videos, and I don't know if those have been integrated. But more than likely, the information y'all are looking for is probably in the WikiSpeed folder. I don't think it's in the sensitive. In fact, I really thought the documents were in Carica, and I don't want to I'd have to ruin the recording here in order to pull this up. But I think that Lauren does not have access to the online board, and I think that's where that particular card was moved to. But also, there's a good possibility that I think some of that, it may be under Service Mark or it may be under nonprofit, but some of that may actually be in the Dropbox. But at least the Carica cards that were associated to it, I think, have been moved to the online board. Maybe that's why Lauren's not finding them. The best I can do there without having to pull that up and go through the process is as soon as we get done here, I'll make sure that Lauren's account is invited to the online Carica board.
Okay, so 4 subdirectories in Dropbox under WikiSpeed. I got branding, contacts, countries, documents, evidence, funding, insurance, microhouse, non-WikiSpeed, photos, presentations, task breakdowns, number forms, training. I don't know where to search within.
Yeah, I don't. that may not have it then.
Okay, so under the boards, I'm looking for the online.
Under the Carica board, which I think you probably do have access to it, Michael, and you can actually invite Lauren also. But I think it's just called WIKISPEED. I think just online board.
Yeah, WIKISPEED online team workflow. So is it going to be in the backlog or the product backlog?
Well, what you can do is on the upper right hand side where you can invite a new member. You should be able to invite Lauren, and since he's on other of the boards, you shouldn't need to know his email address. You should just be able to start typing in the letters. And it's probably in, I think, on the online board. What's the most? There's backlog, which is the master backlog. I don't think it's in that. It may be, but that would be shared through 3 or 4 backlogs. I think product backlogs right to the right of that, and that may be where it's at.
So I missed it. How do I invite him again?
In the upper right-hand corner, the interface has changed a little bit, so I may be telling you wrong, but there seems like there's an icon for members. You can click on it. It shows you the other
maximize. I've got manage the board settings.
So it'll be on the same row as manage the board settings, maybe. But
Okay.
one of those little click downs has the members of the board or the team members or something like that.
Attachments, board chat, view. If I can, I don't see it.
Is there another set of options under those? Because that sounds like maybe the interface has changed up a little bit.
I've got me up in the highest upper right hand corner.
Right.
And then there's nothing under that. And then under where the tabs would be.
There's not an icon that looks like a little people. It seems like that'd be the easiest way to show it.
And I do not see a.
There's a possibility that. Well, let's try to do this then. Everybody at home. Everybody at home.
So I reset my password in Dropbox, and I tried WIKISPEED, and there's nothing there.
So y'all won't see this on the recording, but everybody at home. Hopefully there's no porn on here. I'm just kidding. Everybody at home gets to see this process of me trying to log in here.
Charitable status application to IRS, is that?
That sounds pretty relevant.
Yeah.
It says it's blocked. I've got 1023 form draft supplementary blocks form 1023 attached here. Complete the financial grid. So I see 3 RTF documents and a PDF.
Can you hear me?
Yes, again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I finally reset my password in Dropbox. I can't find anything called WIKISPEED, and also in Carica, I looked under. It should have been doing or like blocked or something, and I looked on Linwood and online, and I couldn't find it. But maybe I'm not seeing it properly.
If you look in the online. And there is under the product backlog, you've got to use the scroll bar and go down about halfway. It says charitable status application.
Oh yeah, so that'll yeah. Yep. And in that one just above it, fill in charitable form. That's probably Joe's note. The section 9 finance grid. Yeah, I think I might have. I don't know if I extracted that part or whatever. And so is blocked? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I do not see a link to the Dropbox in either one of those.
I didn't do anything with Dropbox.
Right. It may just be attached just to that card. Those cards. There should be like 2 cards. I think there was 2 cards associated to it. I did just try to log into it, but apparently using this browser, it just logged me in as the account. Because it's Google that's doing the Hangout, so I didn't have access to any of that under that account.
So,
yeah, and there's more attachments in there.
Okay.
Well,
I'm gonna,
yeah, I kind of drafted some things a little separately because there's some parts that.
Hey, hey, I gotta jump off the call, but I know I think I know exactly where these are, so um, I should be able to do it here in about an hour. I'm gonna jump on the Carica board and look for those specific cards. Make sure Lauren has access to that board, and then share those cards probably through
Yeah,
email directly to him.
I just opened the PDF, so I'm doing okay here.
Okay, cool, cool.
but if you have some idea where we can look within the Dropbox structure for these files, that would be awesome.
They may have never gotten into Dropbox. They may have only been shared in Carica because we were using Carica much more at the time that was going on. So they
Well,
may
Joe
not
said
they
that
may
he
not
had
exist in.
scanned I believe Joe said he had scanned his receipts and put them in the Dropbox, and that's what we're looking for.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
so we
okay.
got to look for the receipts.
I got you. Okay, so I do have read only access to the Dropbox. So yes, that would be the best place to start next. Then is look through there and see if I can find where these receipts would have been scanned in.
Okay, I struck out with tax. I'm now looking with IRS. Again, no joy. So if I'm
If
gonna
any,
keep looking, you guys keep looking. If one of us finds it, please broadcast.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So are we ending, or I've signed back into Dropbox, but I don't know where to get to the WIKISPEED. And I'm talking to Michael. If you need to drop off, Chris.
I am going to drop off right after I say this. I don't think that either one of us have the access to the Dropbox account at the level that would require inviting you to it. And I also don't think the files that we're looking for have ever actually been in Dropbox. I'm sorry, except for the text files, not the ones that are being filled out. But yeah,
No,
actually, I don't think that either one of us have the ability to give you access to be able to search for it also,
okay.
unfortunately.
Okay.
If you were to guess, Lauren, what kind of files would you expect these to be? Would they be JPEGs? Would they be PDFs?
I actually need to ask Joe that. So yeah, Chris, I'm just talking to Michael. So like, if you need to go, that's great.
Thanks.
Yeah. So now, did you say there was tax things? Because it may be that the tax things contain the receipts. So is there taxes by year? It needs to be the past 3 years or something like that.
When I did tax and hit enter, I found a document that says WIKISPEED Canadian Goods and Service Tax Signs. So that looks like a form. And another version that is an extension of PDN. But that's the only thing that we get out of tax.
Right.
So I tried IRS, and IRS gave me a quite a small list as well.
Yeah, anything like
receipt.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's receipt. Okay, I got nothing out of IRS.
Okay.
Receipt is there's a subdirectory called invoices and receipts, but it doesn't have very much stuff in it. I got Rob Beresford receipts. I got something about a Suburban, but none of these are any newer than 2013. I'm sure he did that later, right?
Try corporate or financial statement or something like that, because do you like it would help to look at the form, and I can actually just give it to you. Hang on, I can show it to you on my screen.
Um,
It doesn't give me the option to switch the camera around, which would be nice. Anyway, yeah. So
I've got nothing on corporate. Oh, wait a second. It's has me inside invoices and receipts.
like the annual financial statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So can you see that screen here?
Give me a second.
Yeah.
I can see part of it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm holding it, this thing up to.
Yeah, not enough to read, but.
So you can't.
I can see
Yeah,
black text
basically.
and columns, right?
And the best is to go to the Carica and open the attachment.
Yeah.
And there's four attachments.
Yep.
And this one is WIKISPEED 501c LS. That's me. F1023 revision.
Okay.
And then on page 9, you can see the grid, which is gifts, grants, and contributions received, membership fees received, gross investment income, and it's just got a list of a lot of categories,
Yep.
and there's a balance sheet also. So, I mean, WIKISPEED has to be doing the corporate Washington State some kind of annual filing. So some of that could be in there, and that maybe that's what he's talking about. But it might not be. It might be a better idea to query Joe and get him
Well,
to.
he said he's got an entire directory of these things. So if you're scanning them, they're going to be either JPEGs,
yeah,
or PDFs, or some damn thing.
Yeah, but I mean, didn't he say something about like financial statements? Because what I'm thinking is maybe it's past the point of, we were going to go through paper receipts, but it's past the point of that. He thinks that some other financial documents that they're filing may have everything we need. And you see, initially I was telling them there is these 16 categories, and then there's also the financial statement. So revenues and expenses, the 16 category, there's 24 categories actually. And then financial data, there's these kind of summary: cash, accounts receivable, inventory, bonds, etc. And the balances are net assets. And have there been any substantial changes?
Okay, so I'm looking through all the JPEGs.
Yeah.
And I've got corporate sponsors, and I've got a bunch of photos that Mike scanned, whoever Mike is. Unofficial logos, cartoons. But I'm expecting there to be a big bejesus list of these, right?
Not necessarily. It may just be like financial statement, corporate financial report, balance sheet, revenues, expenses. And what they want is the current tax year and the 3 prior tax years, or 2 succeeding tax years, which I don't quite understand.
So,
So that's just if you haven't been in existence, then you can project. But we have been in existence, so we have to do actually a total of 4 years of financial information.
okay. I'm scrolling through probably 30 dozen pages here of pictures.
Really is a Dropbox.
Well, JPEG is apparently a very, that's mostly what he's using this for, I guess.
Yeah, right, okay.
Is JPEGs.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to do is back up and do PDFs. Because in PDFs, come on. If we used a scanner to scan them, then there should be PDFs. Like that's what we're looking for. Is he didn't do the classification. He just went through and scanned everything. Is that correct?
No, I don't know. It was like, you know, it may be a lot more efficient to just wait till he answers. You know, he said something like it sounded simpler than what the paper task we had of sorting all kinds of boxes of stuff. He said something like the financial data is there now, and you can just pull it off of there. So then the question is, were you talking about summary financial things like corporate report or whatever? Because
no, I haven't found corporate. When I searched for corporate, I got nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe I spelled it wrong.
WIKISPEED. Annual.